On Battery Day, Tesla announced the 4680, the revolutionary breakthrough battery. Well, sort of. It's just a bit better in a bit cheaper way to manufacture, and ever since they've been struggling to make it happen. New reports are suggesting that Elon has told the team, fix it by the end of the year or you're done. Well, that could be true, it might not, but even if it is, what does it all mean? That's what we're going to discuss. I'm Brian, welcome to Future Ozza. I am joined, as I so often am, by Randy Kirk himself. He has agreed to join me once more. Maybe once is too many, but we'll find out. How are you today, Randy?
I am just a tickety-boo.
I don't know what that means.
It's a Canadian term.
I went to Tim Hortons recently here in Mexico. By the way, I am no longer in Mexico by the time you're watching this. I am probably on my way to San Luis Obispo for the X Takeover in California. Join us, won't you? So we did see this report, and it is a big old mess. What we've got here is this report. This is Green Car Report's version of it. Tesla still hasn't solved its issue with the large format 4680 battery cells. Musk reportedly told the team the issues better be fixed by the end of the year. If they cannot be resolved, the project will be abandoned. So let's start with the first part of this, which is, do you think that is something that Elon actually told the team?
No. That would not be an Elon Musk management style of motivation.
Really?
Some leaders would use that as a style of motivation, but nothing I've read, and I've studied it pretty deeply, nothing that I've read about Elon's management style would suggest that he would go in and say, well, if we can't do this, we're just going to quit. His management style would be more like, if we don't do this by the end of the year, you're going to quit.
So I would say a statement like this does fit. He's gotten a lot more impulsive over the past year or so with things like firing the entire supercharger team.
That's my point. Firing the team, not the project.
Sure. Okay. There is a critical difference there. And that's, I also struggle to believe that they would abandon the 4680 when it already works. It already works. It just needs to be a little bit better. The second part is the obvious part. Let's say that this is true, that he did say this. Do we believe it? And your answer to that is obviously no. The only possible way that I can comprehend that would be true is you've got this dramatic drop in the cost of batteries, just dramatic. You're also got, I don't know, 10 new chemistries since he started the project? I mean, 10 new chemistries in the world that are being experimented with. Some of those are already in high production people weren't even talking. Now, I'm sure Elon knew about a lot of these chemistries 4 years ago. 3 years ago, but I don't think, I didn't know about these chemistries 3 or 4 years ago. Limiting factor didn't know about these chemistries 2 years ago. So there's a lot of new chemistries that are coming on board that could certainly probably be applied to the 4680, but maybe the reasons for it become less important given the dropping costs and the availability of raw materials as you have multiple chemistries. So could there be a reason to just get out of battery manufacturing because your suppliers are just way better at that? I will give you, of course, a water bottle company factory example. I made my own caps for a number of years, made the caps. They were a little hard to manufacture as an injection molded part. We only had that part for injection molding. And at a certain point, we found a factory down the street. It was like 4 blocks away that had this massive injection molding capacity. And we went to them and they could make it less expensively than I could make it and sell it to me at a lower price. So I got out of the injection molding business. Yes. And that
happens. We've seen that in a number of industries where it just doesn't make sense to keep the particular thing in-house when others can do it cheaper. We know LG has a factory in the South. It's not in Texas, is it? Maybe, that will soon be producing 4680s like next month. And if what they find at the end of the year is that these 4680s are just as good, maybe even better, who knows, but cheaper, it really makes it difficult to continue doing that. So they're saying that, so Elon's mom is all in on batteries, I guess, is what we're taking away from this. If, like I did, you read it wrong.
Yes.
They must solve a problem that can cause the cells, which are longer and wider, to collapse in on themselves while in use. That doesn't sound right. Well, it's certainly not a good thing, but collapse in on themselves, that wouldn't, all right. Cattle is going a completely different route with its cell to pack tech, which directly integrates cells into a battery pack without the modules used in most current pack designs, which could provide 13% more power, given the same volume, which would be great. And, we'll have to wait and see on that, I suppose.
Sandy Munro, of course, last week, I think you might have even had a show on this. I don't remember. Sandy Munro was famously touting another battery design, flat,
the Saku
flat design.
Mm-hmm, the Saku battery. And boy, did I get so many comments on that fail to understand product design. They were saying, why isn't Tesla using this? Wait, why are they not using a thing that just was invented like 10 seconds ago? That reason. It hasn't existed long enough to even be fully tested. But another reason would be that the Saku battery is not designed in a way that would permit structural battery packs. So Tesla would have to rethink their manufacturing strategy. On vehicles out of China, they could use it. China is not using any structural battery packs currently. I don't think they are. Maybe on the Model Y, but even then, I think all of them still have the frame with the battery inside the frame. So I think, you can't pivot that quickly, and we have to wait for validation to know if it's even something that would be worthwhile. But there are advancements coming on every front. The 2170s from 2018 are not as good as the 2170s made today.
Right.
Today they're more reliable. They have greater energy density. Everything gets a little better every year. We are seeing, even on the slowest improving form factors and chemistries, we're still seeing more improvement today than we are seeing on internal combustion vehicles, because those are maxed out.
Yeah, and you can be really highly confident of two things. Elon's purchasing departments and or technical guys all know about what Sandy Munro knows about.
Mm-hmm.
They know about what everybody knows about. If there is any kind of new concept in batteries, chemistries, design, et cetera, out there, Tesla's people are, in this kind of world where we have X and we have all the internet and everything else going on, they're aware of every signal possible technological improvement that's going on out there, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
When you've got a company the size of Tesla that is dominating a field, every single person that's coming up with a new chemistry, a new design, a new concept of batteries is attempting with all of their might to get in front of Tesla to get bought out for a cool 500 million or so.
Mm-hmm. Well, or even 50 million, who knows? Yeah. Now, the thing with one question that I had asked, I had a chance to attend a presentation by Jen Gowdy, a Tesla employee who worked at Cato Road. No cameras were permitted, so when I say I'm going to these events, please join me, you will learn things. One of the things I asked her, because she knows who I am and she knows to be very careful with answers, was, is there something particularly vexing about the 4680 form factor that has led to delays by LG, Panasonic, C8? All the companies were looking at 4680 and very few of them proceeded. Many of them backed down on existing plans. Is there something particularly vexing about the shape? And she said, I can't answer that. I was like, Yeah, she said if I answered that, it would be too revealing of what we're doing at Tesla. Now, you do remember that Rivian has announced that they're going to not a 4680, but a 46120 form factor. Yeah. So if there are problems getting to 80 millimeters, the 120 millimeters has got to be a real trick and a half itself, even more difficult. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But Rivian is not building the battery. They're partnering with a large battery maker to make it happen. So I have reasonable confidence that they will get there on the timeline supposed. So fingers crossed on that.
Right. And Lucid, of course, is claiming that they have the highest energy density of anybody out there. I'm not sure that they've proven it to anybody but themselves, but at least that's their claim. So there might be some stuff that will be reverse engineered shortly that will determine if that's true and or what they're doing that makes that possible. The experimentation with dry cathode, dry anode, all the kinds of things that Tesla's been playing with in the course of doing the 4680 is also applicable. Even if they were to shut it down, it would be applicable to other possible ways that they build other possible batteries. They might be building with Panasonic, with CATL, et cetera. So there's the learning is still the learning.
So I haven't seen that Lucid's announced a energy density record, but I did see that they announced a watt hours per mile record, that it's something like 5 miles per kilowatt hour, which would be a new benchmark. And while I've been very critical of the shenanigans they pulled to get some of the technical specs that they've accomplished, this one looks like the sort of thing that you can't really fake. Now, it could be that when they get out in the world and people are driving them the way people drive cars, that range is that efficiency doesn't hold up, or that's maybe with minimal air conditioning use as opposed to, say, Arizona air conditioning use. But it's good to see that they're actually doing something that is important and best in class. So, guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it all into the comments below. Head on over to Randy Kirk's channel, link in the description. See what he's up to. Who knows? And everybody else, like, subscribe, do the usual, and stay tuned to stay juicy. I know some people don't like it. If you really hate it, you have to tell me. I'd consider getting rid of it, but maybe I should run a poll.
I was confused.
Getting rid of the juicy part. There are people who are like deeply offended, like, oh, it sounds so gross.
Juicy.
I know. Juice is what makes electric cars go.
Oranges.
And batteries.
Yeah. They're juicy for sure.
You got to juice them up if you want to go anywhere, Randy. Everyone knows.
Oh, man. Well, if in the comments below, let us know.
Yeah. And can't wait to hear from you clever robots, perhaps at the X Takeover in just at the end of this week.